Give everybody a couple of minutes here to get in. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open these things up a few minutes earlier, just in case people are looking to get shuffled in with the waiting room. Hey, Dennis, Michelle, Wayne, thank you so much. Great to see you guys back. I think you're going to like today's webinar. We're going to go over the app builder, as I'm sure you know. Let's give everybody a few minutes here to get in. Let's see where we have some visitors today. Okay, mainly from the U.S. Hey, Greg, welcome. Thanks so much for joining. All right. So thanks everyone for showing up nice and early here. I realize I'll probably open these things up about 5-10 minutes before, so I can, catch anybody that might think it's not going to happen with the waiting room and all. Do you guys like the waiting room? Is it a good experience for you? Are you finding that maybe someone could be confused, thinking nothing's happening? Or hey, welcome back, Dana. Great to see you here. All right. So we'll just give everybody 1 or 2 more minutes. Oh, I got caught with my phone not on mute, unmuted. All right. Okay, perfect. People are getting in here. Excellent. Hey, Chris, welcome back. Sarah, welcome back. Got a few of our all-stars here. This is awesome. Yes, Greg, we're going to go ahead and send the slides after the presentation. You can download them from SlideShare. We'll send the link to that. We're also going to send a recording of the webinar to everybody, too. So good to know for future reference. If you ever miss a webinar, I understand life happens. You'll always be able to watch these webinars on our YouTube channel. We're also going to include an email link to that specific video, within about 24 to 48 hours. And that follow-up email is really good too, because we'll also send, updates to questions we couldn't get to or answer, as well as the promotional offers to take advantage of, because a lot of times you won't see some of these offers on the website because they're special for our webinar friends, so our webinar community. So good things. You're going to start to see those emails coming in. Whether you subscribe or not, we try to get that out to everybody that even registered, and even if they couldn't attend. So we try to do our best to make sure everyone has what they need. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and get started here. Thanks again, everybody, for showing up. Really appreciate you investing this time. We always learn a lot. I hope you do too. So we'll go into the presentation and focus a little bit more on the mobile app. And that's the purpose of our event today. The app for the eDirectory platform is definitely a brand differentiator. Having an app certainly establishes credibility for people visiting your site. It shows that you've made a serious investment. There's a lot of companies out there that do like, we will appify your website for really cheap. And it's supposed to look like you have an app, but really all it's doing is framing the mobile browser within what looks like an app architecture, but it's really not the case, right? So it's really just using the app browser of the mobile website portion, right? And so you notice a difference in the operation. It doesn't function like a true app. So that's one of the things we love about the platform. Your app is integrated. It syncs automatically with your site. We did just release a new app builder video that we added to the Getting Started video series. Really happy about that one. That actually came from the community. And, after that recommendation came from the community, we were all kind of slapping our heads here like, geez, why didn't we have the app builder video there? But you know what? We're all here to learn. And as long as we can, take what we learn and turn it into actionable insight, with our websites, and I think in any practice in life, really, if you can take feedback and run with it, apply what's useful and discard what's not, and continue to move forward, knowing that your website is in a constant state of evolution. Your online community is growing, and you're going to get feedback, and you're going to be able to make changes and adapt, right? So, knowing how things work like that, it's always just good practice, and we live by that now at eDirectory. So thanks again, everybody, for your ideas. Really do appreciate it. So what we'll do is I'm going to go over the agenda a little bit, and that way we kind of know how we're going to invest our time here today. The first 5 minutes we'll do welcome and introductions. So we're actually almost there. My name is Marco Bazzari. I'm an executive account manager here at eDirectory, and manning all the magic behind the scenes is Emerson Travellini. He's always making sure that people get what they need on the operational side of our community events. So thank you very much, Emerson. Always a big help. And next, we're going to go into some special offers that we have for everybody here today, as well as a short survey. I think it all helps us learn here at eDirectory a little bit more about our community. And, we can also kind of understand a little bit what we are and aren't doing. I've also got some great articles to share with everybody that we've compiled, based on the app and best practices and things like that. So really happy about that. Then we're going to spend about 30 minutes going into the mobile app builder. We broke that into 3 different sections. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And then we're going to open it up for a short question and answer session at the end. This is actually my favorite part. You'll be able to raise your hand. We'll be able to pass you the microphone, ask a question, and we'll do our best to answer it right here if we can. And if not, we'll definitely follow up and make sure we can get that information to everybody. All right, so now we know how we're going to spend our time. We can go ahead and get a little bit more into it here. So before we get started, I want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to connect with us. eDirectory, we have a Facebook page, YouTube channel, blog, knowledge base, Twitter. So you'll find great ways to get company updates, product announcements, special offers, and discounts. We're always doing things to mix things up here, so definitely want to recommend you connect with us. We're going to start doing some social media specific promotions. So unless you're there, you won't get it. So a good opportunity to stay in the know and connect with us as your technology partner. We want to make sure you have every opportunity to succeed. Great way to do that is by connecting with us on whichever one of those platforms works best for you. Now, we also have our Facebook strategy group and our LinkedIn groups. Guys and gals, really want to recommend you join our Facebook strategy groups, join our LinkedIn strategy groups, whichever one of those works best for you. A lot of our directory owners are having a great time in there, sharing insights, collaborating with each other, sharing ideas, right? So, and they want to see more directory owners in there. They want to be able to chat with like-minded individuals that have the similar goals of building a recurring revenue website, of launching an online community, right? So I'd highly recommend it. It's definitely a lot easier to succeed when you surround yourself with people that are moving in the same direction, right? It's kind of like that whole, group theory, right? Everyone kind of gets smarter together a little bit faster, right? So it's a good support group, and we want to help make sure it grows. So be sure to take advantage of that there. We also have a Twitter contest going on right now, and so we want to make sure we get a few more participants before we announce the winner. So if you go to our Twitter page, you'll see it pinned at the top. All you got to do is retweet, "I'm launching a meaningful online community that I'm passionate about" with @eDirectory. Retweet to win a free site. So what we can do is, if you're already a customer, what we're doing is we're giving away a free site for 1 year. It's the Enterprise Annual. But if you're already a customer and you don't want to launch a second site just yet, you can exchange that credit for mods too. So really good to take advantage of. Obviously, definitely helps us, and we want to make sure you have an opportunity to win too. So for a simple retweet, definitely a good chance. And then we got some special offers for you today too. You can choose any 3 mods for just $297. That's either between the community forum, social media mod, chat integration mod, or any of the map mods. We have a browse by map, or we also have a Google tailored placement maps mod as well. So you can choose any 3 of those for just $297. Great way to add some value to your site. Some of those mods are around $500 each retail price. So Make sure you get it while it's out there. And for those of you that have been back, we're going to come up with a new special offer. If anybody has an idea on a special offer they want to see, a reasonable idea on a special offer they want to see, feel free to share it or send us an email to marketing at eDirectory. You can always reply to our marketing emails if there's anything you want us to know. We're more than happy to communicate with you there too. So if we miss something, let us know. We want to make sure that we make this thing as valuable as possible for everybody. So, and then of course, if you're looking to get started here today with eDirectory, you do have a great offer to save some money early on, which would be 33% off any new site, subscription or license, the free social media mod, and a 90-day SSL, which helps you launch with a secure site, makes submitting the app a lot easier, and it also does establish some credibility. People feel that they are a little bit more protected on their site too. And it's practically a requirement now from Google. They all want to see that you have a secure site. So very interesting the way the industry is evolving here a little bit. All right, and so I think we're doing pretty well on time here. And you know what? We're going to start asking clients to submit any questions based on the webinar topic within about 24 hours before the webinar. That way we have a good idea of some really pressing questions that anybody has based on the specific topic, right? So we're also going to take about a short break to replan our next series of webinar topics. So I really want to encourage anybody, if you have any ideas for webinar topics that you want to see, if you have any ideas for promotions that you'd like us to do just for our webinar clients, or webinar participants rather, feel free to send us an email, reply to the marketing at eDirectory when you get that update. We'd love to hear about it. And if you also send in your questions 24 hours before the webinar, it'll give us a really good idea to know what to focus in on. We could even make some adjustments to the content in that 24 hours before. So you might see that email coming. We'll probably include it with the reminder that goes out 24 hours before the webinar. That way I think we'll be able to move a little bit faster and make sure that we cover things that are most important to our community. That's always what's most important to us. Hope it's the same way for you and your sites and your community as well. I'm sure that it is. And so now we'll go ahead and move on. Let's see here. So I think we'll be able to go ahead and get started. We've broken down the presentation today into 3 areas for the mobile app. And one of them is going to be operations, obviously getting the app set up and submitted, right? We want to make sure you know exactly how you're going to be able to do that. The faster you get the app out there, the better, obviously. And that means you can start doing some marketing, including it in your marketing, right? Which leads us into the next topic, marketing the app. I actually did a lot of research recently just to kind of refresh myself. And, it's always good practice to make sure you keep a pulse on what's going on out there, not only with your competitors, but in your industry as a whole, right? And so, things are changing very fast nowadays, especially like with the app stores and marketing options. They're constantly adding new features and options to better market your apps. So it was actually really interesting. It was a breath of fresh air. I compiled a few of those articles for us here today, so I'll be sharing those with everybody. Great way to grow your knowledge base. The more you learn, the more you earn. So how I feel about it. And then lastly, we're going to talk about customizations. We know a lot of clients are always looking forward to put their own touch on things, and we want to absolutely provide that wherever possible. That's why we have our own in-house custom development. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. And then again, we'll open it up for some question and answers at the end. Okay, great. So starting with the operations of your site, of the app builder, especially with launching your mobile app, you want to make sure that you stay in touch with all of the different options available on the app, right? So as far as building your app, branding your app, creating custom pages, the point-and-click app menus, homepage and listings slider, highly want to recommend getting really familiar with how the app works on the operational side. So definitely want to encourage you to watch the new app builder video. Take advantage of everything that's right out of the box within the platform. And we'll talk a little bit more about that on the customization side. It's only because the integrated app builder is a proprietary technology of eDirectory, and so the source code is not made available. So meaning that if you want to make any changes outside of what's provided out of the box, It would require a little bit of custom development, depending obviously on the scope and size of the changes you want to be make. But that means I think it puts a lot more value on what's readily available to you. And in the App Builder video, we talk about these custom pages here. And the creating of custom pages is actually, oops, I kind of drew all over that one. Maybe I'll just do a little star. So the creative custom pages is actually a very powerful functionality within the app builder, because you can actually make edits to those custom pages without having to resubmit the app. So it gives you a page on the app that's live that can be updated regularly, which is great for promotions. If it's a promotional page on your app that talks about promotions of that week or that month of that season, so it's a great opportunity to really be able to make edits and things on the fly. Maybe it's an informational page, about your business or your community, right? So you definitely want to make sure you take advantage of what's available there. You're able to get that all set up in a way that works best for you, right? And then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the nuances there. But make sure that you're familiar with everything that's in the back end for you, especially the creating custom pages. And then you do have some very interesting slider options there too. And the slider for the listings can actually be another way to feature specific customers as an added value. Certain VIP clients, maybe they're paying your highest plan, maybe they just bought a whole series of banner ads. So that's a really good way to add some value for some key clients, is taking advantage of the listing slider, because it does offer a lot more visibility too. So within the site manager, you definitely want to make sure that you're able to get it set up quickly and easily using what's in there, and that way you're going to be able to use the app a lot better. Now, moving on with the external resources, in getting your app set up, want to make sure you have these key things going for you, because you'll really need them to either launch the app or to get the most use out of the platform, right? The integrated mobile app builder. So very lucky to have an app integrated into your site. It's definitely something that costs other clients, or let's say non-clients of eDirectory, powering a mobile app just on its own, does require resources, right? Sometimes they're based on number of downloads. Sometimes they're based on monthly or annual fees, which can run hundreds, even thousands of dollars a year. And a lot of times it won't really be integrated into your directory. It's either just pulling that mobile page down, or you have to manually have that integration or have it sync. And really, it's two different systems trying to talk to each other, so you run into some issues there. So just another added value of having that built right into your directory site. So because it integrates directly with Facebook, it uses the Facebook app ID and key. It works hand in hand with the largest social media platform on the market. We do offer plenty of resources to find out how to get your Facebook app ID and key. You can do it with just a series of clicks right from your Facebook account. You'll definitely need your Apple developer account, which is, if you have an Apple ID, it would just be navigating to the developer area and making sure you have an account there on that section of their business, so that you can submit your app to the Apple stores. Same thing applies with the Google developer account. If you have a Gmail, very easy to go to the developer section of Google, as if you were opening a Google Analytics account or Google AdWords, right? So all tied in there. So you make sure you have those. And then Google Firebase is actually what's going to allow you to do push notifications through the eDirectory app. So it really is a fantastic platform. When you have people that have their app, that have your app downloaded, you can do those little pings to all the app holders and let them know that there's something new, right? So definitely want to make sure you take advantage of that. The push notifications, it's true push notifications. So when you hit send, that ping will show up on the actual tile of the app on their phone. So you definitely want to make sure to use that. Follow best practices with your push notifications, right? You don't want to do it for every single little thing, but when done moderately, can pay off big dividends, right? Especially for making sure you're keeping your community active, keeping them engaged, adding more content, sharing on social media, things like that. So external resources, and if you watch the App Builder video, you'll see a lot of this in there. Marco, could you spend a minute talking about Firebase? I recently set up analytics for my site, and one of the additional properties you can add under the main account is for an app. Very good question, Chris. Is there any documentation to walk us through setting up Firebase? Actually, there is. So let me just go ahead and open another window here. Actually, rather than share my screen, because I think it does create like a sort of integration to share my screen, which sometimes can slow things down a little. Let me just go ahead. I'm going to navigate over to the support section, and in the search area, I'm just going to type Firebase, and I have a really good article here. I believe it has some screenshots and everything. Yep. All right. So let me go ahead and share that with everybody here. So if you look through setting up the Google Firebase, and you know, Google's really good about having you know, how-to articles and how to get it all set up. We'll show you how to actually connect your Firebase into your app, set it all up. It shows a few things that you'll need to do there, but it's really all just point and click, copy from one place to another, so they know how to communicate with each other. And then you'll be able to just work with Google and see how those notifications work. I recommend highly test it out yourself. You know, you're the owner. This is your baby. You know, you essentially want to know how things look and feel on your site, especially with the essentials like your app. So, you know what? But I do like that suggestion, Chris. And because you mentioned it, I wish that would have set aside more time going through that. And I think maybe when we do the App Builder video round 2, maybe we'll just focus a little bit more on just marketing. I see Hakam, Mr. Hakam Surani, he's back. Thank you so much for joining. Hakam brought up a really good point last week, if we can actually do more live show and tell, right? So now that I have Chris saying some of the same thing, Emerson, I think that's the universe telling us we need to go a little bit more, we need to not go surface level anymore and go a little bit more deep into what we're doing here. So that's probably what we're going to do when we take this short break before we release the next series of webinars. We'll go a little bit deeper into these and do a little bit more screen shares, and maybe do some screen grabs and pre-record some videos. So thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate the feedback, and helps us get better here. So we'll do a little bit more of that. We'll work that into some future presentations here. All right, and so next we'll just talk about some of the key points with the app. Want to make sure you have a great experience. You'll need an SSL. Nowadays we're offering a free SSL for 90 days at eDirectory. So if you're really struggling to get an SSL, even though we do sell one here as a subscription, you can even connect your own SSL that we can install for you. Just let us know. And if you want to send an email to marketing at eDirectory, say, hey, I want to take advantage of that free 90-day SSL. We'll go ahead and take care of everybody in here today on that. I mean, it's obviously being made available for new clients as well, but you know, if that's something that's holding you back, just let us know. We'll go ahead and add that to your site on a free 90-day SSL. And the way it works, it just creates a subscription for our SSL that's really just free for 90 days. After that 90 days, it'll charge for it. But if you don't want it or you want to add your own, just let us know. But it will help you get your app submitted a lot faster too. Okay, great question, Chris. If you have your own premium SSL, we can install it for you. It's just that we need to be the ones to install it on your site for you. You know, sometimes if that SSL is linked with, I think, multiple sites, there might be a couple of back and forth processes for you. We might have to have your server certificate or your SSL certificate cite our servers specifically, and I think you'll probably have to trade a couple emails to get that right. I actually saw that recently. So yeah, if you have your own SSL, we can install it for you. It's just maybe a little bit more of a back and forth as opposed to buying ours. For example, a premium SSL will show the company name like XXX Inc. United States versus standard SSL would just show the green lock and the word secure. Okay, cool. Yeah, very interesting, Chris. Premium SSL, I'm sure will work fine. I haven't seen any distinction or any messages about varying levels of SSL in their application. From what I understand, it's just SSL, we connected, it's secure. So, but that is a good question. I'm actually going to take a note on that here, and I'm going to premium versus standard SSL. Now, I do know that there's varying grades of SSL, like an A grade SSL or a B grade SSL. I'm not sure if that has to do with encryption or maybe premium, like you mentioned, where it's a little bit more branded. I know that they do have an impact on your SEO as far as if you have an A grade SSL or a B grade SSL. But that is a good question, Chris. I do appreciate that. So we'll definitely get some more information on that. We'll include it in our follow-up email. And again, if anybody needs an SSL to launch your app, let us know. We'll go ahead and end that for you. So if we do a platform upgrade or you change your domain name, you will need to resubmit your app, just so you know. So um, and not all features on the desktop are available on the app, and it's probably just for an intuitiveness. Obviously you have less space in the app, so we can't put everything under the sun in there. We choose what works best, but hey, it's always getting improved. In the most recent upgrade, we released the mobile app version 2 to include more of the features we've added in the desktop. So great for that. Customizations are available to you in the app, but like I mentioned earlier, since that integrated app code is proprietary, it's not open, but we can provide any customizations that are needed. We also offer an app submission mod that is available to you to make submitting your app to all the stores a breeze. When you sign up for the app submission, we send a checklist. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Get your app out there, start playing with it, sharing it with friends and family. Good to go. All right, so moving along, we are going to talk about next marketing the app. I really like this one. I've learned a lot from this recently, so I'm really happy to be able to kind of share in my learning and development with everybody here. So with the marketing of the app, you definitely want to read articles and grow your knowledge base. And I actually have a few articles that I'm going to share with everybody here, and I'll also include them in the follow-up email too. But it really does shed a lot of light on something that I've come to learn about, which I believe is an emerging trend, but we all know about search engine optimization for a website, and now what's being called ASO, which is App Store Optimization. Now, I might be behind the curve a little bit, so if this was probably already something going on a long time, then hey. But if it's something that's obviously come to the forefront more, because what we're seeing is so many people coming online each day with smartphones around the world, as opposed to a personal computer for the obvious, price hurdles. And so, apps are not going anywhere. More and more apps will be created. So it's even more important to do things to make your app stand out. And, just like your website. And this is great because as a directory owner, it essentially gives you two different verticals to market, right? So it gives you the opportunity to be in more places and to essentially create more opportunities. So I'm going to share some of these here, but I'll definitely share all these afterwards. So basically, some of my recent knowledge has come from these articles that I found really helpful, especially the ones from Apple. And so what you're finding with the app stores is that they understand that it's a lot more important to help app owners really be able to differentiate themselves. So now, especially with updates to the Apple Store, where they have additional app previews, localization, new text fields that they can add. Before it was pretty rigid as far as the information and text fields that were available. But now as they roll more of those out, more features, product pages for the app, just a whole lot more going on that we want to make sure that we at eDirectory are on the same page in parallel with our community, making sure we're all taking advantage of what's out there for us. So definitely want to make sure you're reading articles, staying up on what's going on. Now, of course, a lot of authors are going to have their own opinions, but you will find things that are more technical in nature that are proven through statistics and studies. Just make sure to do your own due diligence on those, obviously. But knowing what's out there, knowing what other people are doing, knowing that those same competitors that you have in your directory launch plan, hey, do they have an app? Do they not have an app? Okay, great. So that's one differentiator for you right there, right? So you can offer that, whereas your competitors might not be able to. And of course, you can see what they're doing in the app stores too, and say, hey, you know what? They're doing this thing here that works really well. I like that. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to apply it to my brand and my industry too. So it does give a lot more options for innovation, inspiration as well. And let's see, there was one other point I wanted to touch about that in the recent articles and sharing just some of what I'm learning about it. Is that what you're finding is, however you're marketing your website, I'm going to assume you're probably doing just a little bit of sponsored ads in Facebook, doing some tests, establishing a baseline, seeing what you're getting out of it. If you're doing Google search, Google AdWords, The great thing is that the app stores have the same exact thing. They have keyword search. You can bid on those keywords, right? You can see what keywords your competitors are ranking for. You can find your niche that way too, right? And a lot of general browsing in the app store is how people find apps. So if you keep that in consideration, there's essentially a whole nother search engine out there that people can find your site, whether they find it through your app or whether they find it through your desktop site. So um, ranking well for keywords in the App Store is a very good strategy, seeing what's going to work for you. Obviously, you're going to be learning getting started, but there's so much you can do on a low budget just to see what will and will not work for you, right? So just something to keep in mind, and it's obviously a critical portion of your marketing mix because it does set you apart from a lot of other solutions out there. All right, so creating a landing page for your app in the site manager is definitely one option that you can do. Now, you're going to have an app page within the App Store, but you can create a landing page right through the back end of the website, right through the page editor in the design section. You can create a new page very easily, right? Define what that vanity URL is going to be. And you can have a page that talks a little bit more about your app, right? So whether you're creating a link to download your app in all of your emails, whether you're adding a link in your signature to invite people to learn more about your app, right? If you're activating the smart banners on your desktop site through the mobile app area, where if they detect that that person's visiting on a mobile phone, they'll offer them to download the app of your site, which is great too. So you're cross-pollinating, you're identifying using the technology you have available to you. So that kind of leads into our second point. You want to include links to download the app in your email marketing, right? So whether that email marketing is to people to sign up or it's visitors of the community, you want to make sure that you're including that in a lot of the places where you have contact points, because, hey, it's a great engine that you have on the mobile app front, and you want to make sure that people know about it, right? So it does require a little bit of presence and visibility, and it's an easy thing to forget. So that's why I want to make sure we touch on that too. So being able to download the app is also a great non-aggressive way to get somebody involved and interested in your community, right? Because they're going to go to the App Store, they're going to see your page, they're going to see your previews, they're going to see the way you're really marketing it, and they're going to see any reviews that you have too. So take ownership of your App Store page. It really is a cool way to market your site. And nowadays, especially with the internet and with social media, right? People are finding it easier to group together and create these meaningful communities, which you are all powering. So everybody that you want to be in your app is already out there. They already exist, and they're essentially looking for what you have. That's, I'm sure, the reason why you created what you did, because there is a market for it, right? So even if there's competitors, there's always room for one more, and taking ownership of the places where you really have that opportunity to brand yourself is critical. Next, create some content around your app. Create some some use cases for the app. If your online community is really focused around, let's say, the events part, or you're finding that the events portion of your app is driving a significant amount of traffic. And don't forget, all these different verticals of your site are ways to bring people into your community. Whether it's special deals, you can market to special deal sites. If it's events, you can see what other event sites are out there that have something similar and post events from your directory there, right? So if you create some content around your app, and you encourage people to download your app because you're saying, wow, it's so easy. Wherever if you have a national directory, you say, hey, wherever you are in the United States, just check out the app and see if there's one of our community members there nearby, right? So when you create that content around your app, you're letting people know that it's of value to them and that they should check it out. So you do want to support it. You do want to take ownership of your App Store page. You want to make sure it's present in your email marketing, that people know they can download the app. Create a landing page if you need to in the app for the site manager, especially if you want to maybe host a YouTube video on that landing page where you're talking about your app. You have so many opportunities there. So want to make sure you know about all those. And of course, the more articles you read and grow your knowledge base, you'll get inspired with different tips and tricks on best practices and ways that you can really help yourself stand out, especially with some App Store optimization there. All right. So we're moving along. We're doing really good on time. I think we're going to have a little bit of extra time for the uh, open community forum, which that'll be great. All right. And so let's see, before I go on from the marketing side, I want to go ahead and do one of our surveys here. Because I didn't want to do the survey at the beginning because I want to discuss a few of the marketing elements of the app builder, but we're going to go ahead and do it now. So I'm going to open that up. Now, Emerson, could you let me know if the survey is showing up a little bit better for everybody, especially on your end there? So I just launched a survey, and it's a pretty short survey. I believe it's about 6 questions. You might need to scroll down a little bit. And I'll go ahead and read out some of these questions for us here too, but it's definitely going to help us learn a little bit more. So do you have the app included in your current plan with eDirectory? Now, maybe if you don't and you'd like the app, we can come up with a special offer for you today to add the app to your site. So, hey, you never know. If you don't have the app and you'd like it added to your account, feel free to send us an email at marketing@eDirectory, and we'll make sure you get the most awesome webinar exclusive price for that. But it does kind of help us understand how many of us here today are actually running with the app. So is anybody having any problems completing this survey? I think last week there was an issue. Somebody couldn't scroll down past the first 2 questions. Is anybody else having that experience? I'm scrolling up and down on it repeatedly in the event that it's tied to how I see this survey. All right, looks like we're getting some answers there. Looks like we got 2. Let's see so far. Oh, there we go. Okay, so question 2, what was the biggest challenge you faced in getting your app submitted? We put some of the questions there just to see if, those are some of the things that were holding people back, but if none of the above apply, feel free to hit none of the above. We're not going to hit it on the head every time with these surveys, but we will get better, I promise that. I only saw 2 questions. Oh, man. All right, Dennis. Try clicking onto the actual survey portion itself, maybe with your mouse, and then scrolling down on the wheel. Thanks, Akam. Yeah, you know what? I think maybe that was my fault for not explaining that properly the first time. So I'm sorry about that. You might need to scroll down with your wheel, or if you don't have a mouse, let's say you're on your laptop, click on the actual survey and then do the scrolly down double finger thing, maybe with app. Okay. Already submitted. All right, so you're all done. Okay, no worries. Sorry for the confusion there, Dennis. Let's see. Have you watched the recently created App Builder video in the Getting Started video series? So definitely want to make sure we all do that one. Let me see. I'll go ahead and pull it up for us now while we're filling out the survey portion here. Next question, what are you doing to promote your app? It's a short answer question, so there's no right or wrong answers. We're going to go through the results, and if we see anything that's worthy of mention, we'll definitely go ahead and share that with the community. And again, if you are seeing things that are working well for you in the community, in your community, feel free to join the strategy session, share it with other directory owners. Or maybe not. Maybe that's your secret growth hack and you don't want to share it with your competitors, right? But, there are certain things that can work well for everybody, regardless of industry or market. So some good things, definitely always good to share that knowledge. All right, so eDirectory.com. I'm scrolling to our YouTube channel. My goodness, what a beautiful YouTube channel. Look at all these helpful resources. Okay, the app builder. Okay, you guys are going to see our shiny new intro animation. Thank you, Emerson Travellini, for that. You're the best. I hope that's the right video. Yeah. Okay, the Enterprise App Builder. Woohoo! So you can watch that video there. We'll also include it in the follow-up email. Don't worry about that. Does having an integrated app add some credibility when speaking with new community members? Yes. Okay, good. That was a resounding yes. So it's definitely a value. We definitely want to make sure we take advantage of value wherever possible, especially since we're lean startups. My screen is stuck on the thank you for your participation. Oh, okay. I think maybe Chris, when I end the voting on the survey or poll, that might go away. I'm probably sure that's what it is, but we'll see as soon as I end the voting here. How many app downloads have you had on your app within iOS and Google Play stores? Okay, cool. No problem, Chris. My pleasure, man. Glad I could answer it. All right, so it looks like we've got 70% of the polls in here. So suppose I'm happy with that. I'll give everybody just maybe less than a minute to finish up any last answers there. In the event you're having a Jerry Maguire moment on how you're marketing your app on that short answer question. All right. Okay, so let's see. We'll go ahead and end the voting. All right. So let's see. We do have some results here. So it looks like 70% of us have the app included with our current plan, so that's great. Looks like we have an even mix of some of the challenges with the app. So Emerson, we definitely want to see if there's anything we can do to improve some of the resources we have there, maybe tailoring it more for first-time users. So very insightful. Have you watched the recently created app builder video? No. All right, we're gonna add that YouTube video twice in the follow-up email, everybody. Hopefully that'll encourage more viewership there. What are you doing to promote your app? We did get a few short answer questions there, so I look forward to seeing that after the webinar. Having the app does add credibility. Great. We do have some responses on how the app can work differently or better, so I definitely look forward to those. Okay, and we've got some decent download rates there, so thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time to do that. Definitely helps. We take every bit of info that we can and try to make the product better with it. So, okay, so we talked about marketing. You definitely want to make sure you take advantage, take ownership, and thanks to Chris and Hakam, the next series, we're going to go a little bit deeper into the actual product. We'll be doing more screen share demonstrations. I'm going to go grab some of my teammates, some of these developer techie smart guys out here, and make sure that they show us exactly what we need to see. So again, I want to encourage everybody before we move on, if you have any ideas for webinar topics, ideas for promotions, can you guys hear me okay? Emerson, do you have my audio? Okay, I'm back. Okay, thank you, sir. All right, so I got distracted there. But yeah, if you have any ideas for how we can make our webinars better, we definitely want to hear them. Ideas for special offers, let us know. We're always happy to do that. Okay, so moving along, customizations. So, as I mentioned, the app is sort of a different part of the platform than the desktop portion because we don't release the full source code. But you do have customizations to your app available anytime, as your community grows and demands new features or functionalities. So we don't want you to feel that you're locked in anything that you can't use. If you already have ideas about how you want to see the app work, but of course you're just getting started with the community, I recommend hold off on these early on so you can focus on growth. We all want to build Rome in a day, but we have to be smart with our investments and our time. And it's really easy to get locked up in the minutia and thinking our platform or thinking that the business idea can't be successful unless we do this customization. Chances are, if that's the case, the concept may not be strong enough to stand alone if it's believed that maybe changing a small way something looks or a button label or something like that, right? So it's really easy to get caught up on little things like that because so much of these things are a brand and it's a reflection of us. But the best way, the way that we've seen people be most successful with the platform is go with what you have out of the box. Of course, there may be some features and functionalities that are absolutely critical for you to have the site that works best for you. We totally understand, and that's why we have an in-house custom development team. But I would just recommend, especially when you're getting started, hold off on those until you've got your first 25 paying members. Confirm with them that they actually want to see that it would add value. That way you're investing your dollars with a bullseye as you grow. And early on, it's most important. That's the really cool thing about a directory site. You don't need a whole lot of paying members to break even. Obviously, depending on industry, it won't apply to every single business, but that's the whole purpose of a lean startup. That's why we made this software, so you have all the essentials in one place and you can focus on your growth, right? So with the customizations, master the app so you know what to add. If you know exactly how the app works, you know what you have, and then you'll know what you need, right? So that's really what our custom development team does, is we do gap analysis, right? We try to figure out where is the gap between what you need and what the system already has. How can we add what you need with some clever workarounds where we don't have to actually open the system up and break down code and stuff? And then, of course, obviously, if it does require a higher level, code development on our side, we're happy to do that and scope that all out for you so you know how it works, how much time it'll take, and how many development hours it'll run, and you're good to go. So, perfect timing. That just about wraps up the 3 critical essentials of the app builder, best practices as far as operations, marketing, and customizations. Emerson, I think I have a better idea of this next one. When we do the app builder part 2, we're going to get in there and do some more screen sharing and things like that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open it up for some question and answer for the last 15 minutes here. I guess what I'll say is, before I enable that mode, when you raise your hand, you'll be able to do it, I think, right along your name on the attendee list on the bottom right. Once you ask your question, if you could put your microphone on mute, that way we don't have any feedback or reverberation or things like that, that'd be awesome. And of course, if you have any questions and you don't want to jump on the microphone, feel free to type those into the chat box down here, and we'll be happy to answer any questions during this open question and answer session here. So let me go ahead and enable discussion mode. Actually, Q&A mode. All right. So question and answer mode has been enabled. If you have any questions, you can click on the Ask a Question button, or raise your hand button, I think I called it. It looks like a hand, so click the hand button if you have any questions, or feel free to type them on in. Could be related to the app builder, could be related to anything else that's really important to you. This is, at the end of the day, a collaborative learning event, so if there's anything else that we can help with, ideally related to the app, would be great. But if that's not possible, then happy to take any kinds of questions. So what is the turnaround time for developing the apps? Good question, Dennis. As far as developing the app, like from the app builder right in the back end, I believe it's almost instant. You just kind of define what the color scheme is going to be. And the app builder literally compiles and builds that app for you, like with a little wheelie turny thing, right? And then, of course, once you go to the app stores, they kind of know where to pull that data from as far as our app builder functionality, right? And getting that all set up in their app stores. So if that's what you mean, it would be nice for you to create a list of other apps that develop and launch. Maybe that can be on the FB side. Oh, very interesting, Wayne. I'm actually going to make a note of that. Now, we get clients all the time that ask us about, can you show us some sample sites of active customers? Can you show us some active sites and things like that so we can kind of see, how other people do it? And it kind of puts us in a sticky position just because, a lot of times our clients can technically be competing with each other. So if someone's like, hey, I have a local community site, but my site's in Kansas, so the guy's site's in New York, it won't matter, right? I'm not going to copy his stuff, or he won't know it. It won't really intersect with his market, right? But a lot of people do work really hard for what they have, and unless we've been given express permission to share your site, We don't share sites of clients. So, and then of course, after we do an upgrade, we essentially have to either get the same permission from the client to share on the upgraded site, or it takes some time to get a few sample sites after an upgrade because, hey, it's a brand new upgrade, so we don't really have a lot of sites that have been launched on it early on, right? As far as being able to get samples and have them set it all up and get that permission. So, but I really do like that idea, Wayne, because I have seen some absolutely amazing apps, and some directory owners really don't mind. They say, hey, if you want to promote my site on social media, go ahead. Hey, if you want to promote our site to other people looking to check it out, I'll take the traffic. I don't mind. So let me just go ahead and make a note of that. I would love to be able to provide a sample of apps to share. Now, we do have a pending task to create more example sites for clients that we've created in-house, just to kind of give better ideas of use cases and applications. So I think that'll actually apply to the app where we launched that app too. So I really like that idea, Wayne. Thank you so much. You always bring good stuff to these things, man. So Dennis, I hope I answered your question correctly. So if you're launching your app from the back end, it's almost instant. It builds, compiles, and what takes the time on that is actually submitting to the stores. They have to do a review process and, cross their T's and dot their I's. So I think that can sometimes take maybe up to 72 hours. Now, if we're doing custom development for you, Dennis, and we're actually developing something on top of your app, it's hard to say without knowing what that scope of work is going to look like, because we don't know if we need a junior developer, senior developer, if it's something that touches multiple areas, if it's going to have multiple teammates, and what those sprint cycles will look like, right? So, if it's a 100-hour job, it'll probably have a much different turnaround time than a 20-hour job, and that really all just depends on the level of complexity, the exact features and functionalities you're adding, right? Do these things exist on other websites where we can more or less get inspired by the code that they used by inspecting it? Or is it something we're building from scratch, right? Can we find something else out there that does what you need it to do and just integrate it? So there's a lot of things that really go into answering that question, which I think is also a good precursor just to our custom development process in general. I remember when I was doing more sales to new clients, I got in trouble a lot my first couple of weeks, because people would say, "Oh yeah, I just want to add this widget on this page here," and I just said, "Oh, okay, that'll probably take us a couple hours, no problem. Let me just go ahead and bill you for 2 hours, right?" And then the manager of custom development would come over to my desk. He's like, "Marco, this job is going to take at least 10, 20 hours. I don't know why you thought this would be a 2-hour job." And so, I just didn't really realize that, custom development, you have to answer so many questions. What is the benefit of this custom development to the community? How does it work after you click submit? Where does that information go? What page loads next? If that information goes somewhere, does it stay there? Is it updated dynamically, right? Is it static? So, you'd be surprised, and that's something I learned a while ago that's helped me well, and I think will help you well as well. Just kind of understanding that whole process of custom development. There's going to be a few iterations to actually get your scope of work to a place where we can quote it accurately, right? Because we'll have to ask a lot of questions and understand exactly how it is you want something to work from A to Z, right? So there's really no skipping steps when it comes to custom development, because you're dealing with algorithms and very specific data transmission, things like that, right? So, okay, not an app question. Hey, Michelle. Not an app question, but there's documentation or guidelines for using the Google tailored map mod. We have purchased it, but I'm having trouble finding out what it does and how to operate it. Great question, Michelle. Let me go ahead and I'm going to take a note on that one, because you know what? I think we do need some videos for our mods. We do have a mod store demo site where you should be able to see a lot of mods, how they would be working in the flesh. I don't know if in the flesh actually applies in the technology world. I don't think it does. I won't use that anymore. All right, so let me just go ahead and pull up that demo site for you here, Michelle. So that's the mod store demo site. It's supposed to be a demo site that shows how all the mods look and feel. So it's not really obvious which ones are which when you look at the site, but if you know which one you're looking for, you can take a look at the site and kind of put two and two together. So Michelle, what I understand from the Google Maps tailored mod is that essentially the pins on the map are what you can customize. So it's not using Google's pins, right? And which kind of gives it your own branded feel, which is like, it's why they call it a tailored Google map, because it's kind of like you made an edit to Google in the way it functions, right? So what you can do is you can create pins that go on the map that are unique to your brand. And those pins can even be different per category. So if you have the, let's say, automotive category, maybe that pin looks like a little vehicle, right? So, oh, this is where the mechanics are on your map, right? So maybe it could be really cool for like a local community site, maybe even on the national level, like you'll see on the Mod Store demo site there. But you know what? Let me just go ahead, Michelle, and Dennis, I think you had that question too. Maybe we'll go ahead and include that in the follow-up email to everybody. A little bit more information about that mod, how it works. And the questions that Michelle had specifically, they said I could ask any questions there, but I can't really ask questions without knowing what it does. Okay, that makes total sense, Michelle. We don't know what we don't know, right? So it makes it hard to try to figure out what we don't know. I totally understand it. Thank you so much for your honesty, Michelle. I really do appreciate it. And I take that as we didn't set your expectations well enough to make that purchase valuable, although we did a little bit. It's just not enough. So that's absolutely something that is on our list. We want to do a video for every single mod in the mod store. We just had to do a lot of catching up on redoing our Getting Started series and redoing the videos for our Latin American market and Portuguese market. But not an excuse. It's on the list. I think what I'm going to do is move that up the list a little bit. All right. Looks like Dana has some feedback about that too. Let's see. I couldn't get the tailored Google Map mod to work initially, but had to go back into all of my listings events and add longitude and latitude to each. Yeah. So that's how the Google Map API connects with our system, and it is done on a technical level. So if you already had listings in there that had to have now the latitude and longitude because they weren't previously in there, yeah, it's kind of one of those things that, if it wasn't already there, the system doesn't know how to explain latitude and longitude to Google where it wasn't predefined. So you know what? I'm actually going to include that, Dana, in the video we produce for it. So a Google tailored map mod, how it works. Now, from what I understood, when that mod is purchased, the custom development team will reach out and, ask exactly how you want to get that set up. So I'm kind of surprised that it seems like we didn't go the full length of how we should have there. If afterwards, clients are still confused about, exactly how it works and how to get the best use out of it. Might be good to have a virtual hands-on workshop. Example, build an app and allow us to interact. This could augment the videos because videos create questions and it would be nice to have the ability to interact with you. Could give options, rationale, pitfalls, etc. All right, Wayne. I like that. So yeah, it looks like Emerson, the universe is telling us we need a little bit more hands-on here. Hakam seconds that, so I third that. I think that's exactly what we're going to do. And I love that Wayne has a lot of experience in a lot of this development and enterprise platforms. So, that to me counts its weight in gold there as far as, adoption or application. So thanks a lot, Wayne. Really do appreciate that. Build an app and allow us to interact. Okay, great. I really do like that. And we do have a series of example sites we'll be launching soon where people can download the example app. So it won't just be an example app of the demo site. There'll be a few different themes that are specialized to some certain industries. All right, cool. So I think, Emerson, when we go and plan our next series of webinars, we need to do a lot more hands-on. I want to go 80-20 on the hands-on and slides. So right now, I think we're 80 on the slides and maybe 20 on the interaction. I think we're going to flip the script on there and go a little bit more on the interaction side as far as live things that people can actually see and happening in the moment. So, so you know what? I was actually going to release the webinar schedule for the next couple of weeks, but I might take some time to pull that back and make sure we can integrate some of this feedback in there. Would everybody like to do a sort of open question and answer forum next week? Because that I think we can push out pretty quickly. If anyone wanted to do that, that way maybe we can cover anything that's come up in the next week between all of our community members. So if everyone would like that, workshop in our I like that. You should go ahead and trademark that, Wayne. Open Q&A would be nice. Okay, great, Greg. Excellent. So we'll do an open Q&A next week, and then after that, what we'll do is we'll probably take a break for a couple of weeks. I'm actually in Brazil right now, where all of our operations teams are, and then after that, I go back to Los Angeles for a short break, and then back to Costa Rica, where we're opening our Latin American spin-off sister company. So looks like we'll probably revisit the webinar schedule maybe the 23rd. So if we can do an open question webinar next week, I think that'll be great. It'll only be a maybe 2-week break. Okay, all right. So Emerson, we're going to add an open QA webinar to next week's webinar event. We'll have Roger add that as another easy win task. Is there any way to pre-register for all the webinars? That is a good question, Dennis. You know, I don't think that there is one yet, as far as I've seen in ClickMeeting, because once we sort of launch the webinar, or let's say create the event in ClickMeeting, it's sort of just created right there. I missed one because I didn't get a notice. That's interesting, Dennis, because it does have automated reminders, and we set them to be one 24 hours before, one 1 hour before, and one 5 minutes before. So maybe if you go to your mail inbox and you see emails from, it should come from marketing at eDirectory. It may come from ClickMeeting. I'll double check on that with Emerson. But maybe you want to whitelist that email address so you definitely get it. And I'm going to double check the reminder schedule there too. Oh, that's after you register. I see what you're saying, Dennis. Thank you for clarifying that. So you don't actually know that there's a webinar that happened because you didn't get any sort of invitation. That notice only happens when you register. Okay, great. I understand completely. So, Emerson, that's a good thing too. And I think that's going to help us increase the attendance a little bit, is that clients don't actually know when there's a new webinar event. So the way we did it is we would release the webinar schedule for like the next 3-4 weeks and kind of blast that out. But ongoing, if we add more events, that's a good point. There's a gap there. So thank you very much. Okay, great. Well, it looks like we're out of time for today, guys. But if there aren't any other questions, I want to say thank you to everybody that visits our events regularly. Thank you to all of those of you that are new here today. Really appreciate everything that we learn. We always learn something here at eDirectory, every event. I hope you do too. And these webinars, I can see them speeding up in as far as production and getting better as far as quality, and us being able to implement some more things here too that I like. Said they missed last week and were disappointed. That's right. I know you're right, Michelle. A few people felt that they missed out. So Emerson, let's make sure that when we announce the new webinar schedule, we share that with our strategy groups. And we'll also make sure that we share that on social media and our email campaigns. And I think we actually need to bring back the promo header on the website about the webinars. So in between promotions, when there's gaps, I think we'll do a promo header about the webinars too. So let's make sure we have something up there all the time. Resend out the URL to past webinars. Very interesting. So what we'll include is there'll be a link. It's a private link to our YouTube playlist that has just webinars in it, and you can go through and see all the webinars that have taken place there. Maybe if you send a weekly reminder to register email. Okay, yeah, that's a really good idea, Michelle. So it looks like, Emerson, we need to increase the intensity with which we create awareness for our webinars, which is great. Webinar notice email blast to all. All right. Full scale, yes. We are going all out on this, all right? So we will do that. Let me make a note here. More awareness around webinars. You'll actually see a new menu navigation on eDirectory.com within the next week or two, and we're definitely going to add webinars to a lot better visual real estate there too. Pay us to attend. Actually, Wayne, we were thinking about doing sort of premium webinars where we charge per seat. So that might actually work out on the flip side. But those would be fully immersive with developers on hand and all that stuff too. So, so, so very interesting, Wayne. I really like that. Yeah, Wayne. Okay, so we'll think about it, right? We love to test things out, and wait, all right, so that's a good one. Well, we'll test things out. We'll always see how things work. If they work, we go with it. If not, we scrap it. So hopefully you guys have the same mentality on your sites too. Hey, have some fun, test things out, see what works. And nowadays, people have no problem telling you how they feel, right? With review sites and comment threads and all that fun stuff. If they don't break the bank, okay, cool. Yeah, maybe we'll do a $10 per seat, $20 per seat max, something like that. But if we do that, there'll definitely be some goodies and freebies in there too to make up for it. So all right, great. Well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for being the best part of eDirectory. We love these opportunities to interact with you. You guys all mean more to us than anything else that we can dream up here. As far as what's important to you. So, thanks again for taking part today. We'll send up the follow-up email afterwards. Please continue to share feedback. Don't pull any punches. We want to know where we can be better at every single turn. And again, thank you all for your ideas today. And every single time we do this, we'll keep it coming. And we're going to launch that open forum next week. You will get that email very soon, Wayne. You can send that right to me, buddy. I'll talk to you about that one. All right, cool. Well, everybody have a great day. Thanks again so much. And I'll see you in the next one.